tell me where the hope has gone? Can you tell me where the love went wrong? Do you remember what it sounds like? We can turn the love back on. We can turn the love back on.
Oh, sorry, I was muted, guys. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ink Radio Podcast. This time we're joined by ThatSRB2DUDE. It's not his first time on the show. He's been on the show back in Splatoon 1 before we had like an 8-month hiatus. It was a great time with him, so I'm glad to have him back again. So before we get into it, dude, tell us about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? I mean, I'm sure most people know you, but for those who don't already, you know?
Hello guys, and welcome to ThatSRB2DUDE, and I'm a competitive Splatoon player on Team Olive, one of the, I guess, most known and most favored European teams, and I do YouTube, I stream, I do a lot of stuff to do with Splatoon 2 content and such like that, I guess, so...
All right, and before we get into it, how's everyone doing today? How's your week been? Anything up to date that you guys have been doing that's out of the ordinary?
Well, my birthday is tomorrow, so that'll be fun.
Whoa, how old are you gonna be, 9?
Yo, happy birthday, man.
I'm gonna be 24 years old.
Sick.
Wow.
Same age as my brother.
You're so young.
This is the only gathering of Splatoon players where you could say that and it like not be a total joke.
So I guess we'll go right into it. Since it is your birthday, you have been given Clam Blitz as your birthday present.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome. I gave you this, 9.
Spoon the Omnipotent has given us Clam Blitz.
So
thank you, Spoon.
So I guess since I'm assuming all of us have played Clam Blitz. 9, you have?
I think I'm the only person in the world apparently who has yet to play Clam Blitz. I have not gotten the chance to play it yet. I've seen all the memes. I've played the Monday Night Football track several times on repeat. But no, I have not played it yet.
Kendall?
Yeah, I've played it. Yeah, I played it. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. And dude,
yeah.
I think you played it too, right?
Yeah, I've played a lot of it. It's an experience. There's like 2 experiences you get with it. It's pretty insane. I love it though.
All right, so yeah, let's get right into it. So what's everyone's thoughts? So dude, since you were starting, you said you love it. What do you like about it? What do you hate about it? Let's get started.
Like, I love that you can just like. In the sense, okay, the good side of Clam Blitz is when you have coordinated people where they can like pass clams to you, and then you pass clams back, and then you guys decide as a team to when you're gonna be aggressive, when you're gonna be defensive. I love that aspect of it. The thing I hate about it is solo queue, though. As we're gonna get into that because it's so stressful. Like I'm one that doesn't normally get stressed over Splatoon because I always realize that, hey, it's just a game, it's whatever. But this actually brings the stress out of me because it's just like everyone's all over the place. People don't know how to toss the clams. People just push by themselves, being a hero, then they die, then everyone else dies, and you're the last person alive, and it's just like it's a stressful time in solo queue.
So my first game, because you have to play, I actually only played private battles, so I played with like pretty high level the whole time, and I played every single map on Clam Blitz, so I feel like, I'm not going to say I'm an expert now, I've played them like twice, so it's not like I'm some expert on Clam Blitz now, but I feel like I understand the mode to an extent at this point. I played my very first game, and I will say that that very first game has turned me off of Muscle Forge, Clam Blitz forever. I I stalemated for 8.5 minutes because no one could dunk. And it just sits in overtime. It doesn't ever stop. It just sits until someone scores a point, which is good in a way. But I mean, like 8.5 minutes of like C- people running around with their heads cut off. Like, I don't even know how the point was scored. Like, I couldn't even tell you. It just magically happened. And we're like, oh, thank God the game's over. Like, it was brutal. But after, when you get into it and you play with teams, we separate into 2 different voice chats. And we started like understanding the strategy a little bit more. We started to work out like what really works well, what doesn't, at least for the starting period. And yeah, that was pretty good. So Kendall, how was your first experience?
I started off like, yo, what is this? What is happening? What's going on? Like, I saw nothing. Like, I mean, I watched a little video. I was at work. I didn't even see like hear it with sound or anything. I got into it this morning. And I was like, yo, how do you even throw it? Like, what am I supposed to do?
That's the first question everyone asked, was like, do you press the L button? Do you throw a grenade?
Yeah, yo, at the same time, that's exactly what I was trying to figure out. So I was like, honestly, I was sitting there, I was like, yo, this joint sucks, man. Like, like, yo, like, I swear to you, like, I just like, you know what? I'm just going to kill everybody on the map, and then maybe it might work. But then the idiots like on the side were just like, nah, we're not going to do that. We're just going to run around and like collect the clams and then like never throw them. So like there was like a guy that got up into like the spawn and literally just sat there and died. And I was just like, why? Just do something. Just throw it. And then after a while, I was just like, you know what? All right. Like I started realizing, I was like, yo, like it was kind of fun just being in like C- hell for the portion that I was in it. But after that, like, I started to see it was fun. Like, I'll give it that. It's very fun. Like, I liked it. I wish that, like, when you hit A to go into the rank battle, they were just like, here's a tutorial of how it works. That would have been a little better. Because I tried throwing like a clam at the basket when they broke our barrier. And I was like, yo, what's happening? Why isn't it down yet? Why isn't anything happening? So after a while, I found it fun. I do think that, like, solo, I'm going to crash my desktop again. I promise you, I'm going to crash my desktop. So
you're gonna pull a Sammy, throw your controller at your monitor and break it?
Oh wait, I haven't shown you the link when I like literally crashed my desktop because of Rainmaker? I think this one's gonna be worse.
Oh god.
So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say for it.
You saw in the intro, like, for those who were not at Squidstorm, Kendall hit the table after they won a game, and I swear if Sammy had done the same thing, that table would not have lasted. So I do not want to see your desktop after Clam Blitz.
I can just imagine Kendall, like, after a game of Clam Blitz. Like, I watched Kendall stream, like, once or twice. I was like, yeah, I'm going to check it out. Because he's like, you know, I'm all about the chill, ambient vibes of my stream and chilling. And the first thing I hear that comes out of his mouth is like, yo, fuck this game. It's stupid.
Yo, it was
I'm like, yo, this is so peaceful. I feel so calm right now.
It's the music. It's the music in the background that's supposed to get everybody.
So good. But yeah, Clam Blitz. I will say that as like a team game, I think it's really fun. It's really interesting. Yes. I want to kind of add to what FLC was saying on Twitter. He's like, it's kind of like a really good competitive turf war. And I think that's a really good way to put it. It's a really quick game of back and forth. And what I really like, it sounds really minor, but I like the idea that once you get a football thrown into that basket, you can't counteract by throwing another one into the other enemy team and just going like fucking Hail Marys both ways, just throwing clams everywhere. Like, you have to defend if someone gets the first push. Which makes the game more volatile. It means you have to move back to your base. You have to go offensively. Like, you have to play both sides. You can't just, like, play an offensive strat and just, like, hope that no one runs to your base and gets, like, clams. You have to do both. So I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you guys want to add to Clam Blitz? Because there's a couple of other things I want to go into. Like, what weapons do you guys think are good with Clam Blitz so far? Or what have you tried?
Forge, 52, surprisingly Inkbrush. I'm not gonna
I was
lie.
gonna ask. I was gonna
Yeah,
ask about that. Yeah.
Ink-
Inkbrush
somebody
is
Inkbrush.
so good. We played
Yeah.
it. So we actually got Yoko. Nine knows. I think all of you guys have met Yoko at Squidstorm, right? So we were
Yeah.
playing with him, and any team that he was on, we'd fucking lose. Like, it was so frustrating because they're just so fast. They paint well. They're so easy to pick up clams with and just like run to the base and dunk it. Like in Clam Blitz, you could literally just suicide yourself as long as you get the football into the dunk. Like, it doesn't matter. It pays off, right? So it's one of the few things where you can sacrifice your body and it kind of works in a way.
So then, does that mean that quick respawn, stealth jump, Inkbrush is going to be the new meta for Clam Blitz?
I don't
would
know.
love that.
It might be good. I think swim speed's really important
Please
in this
no.
one. Also, another thing I like to point out is I caught this. If you don't have a football, if you only have like clams, if you have Ninja Squid and you go into squid form, the clams disappear as well. So they're not trailing behind you while you're in swimming form. So it means Ninja Squid's still really good because you could still pop out and shark people.
The only thing I noticed was the fact that when you have the football, you swim faster. That's the only thing I really noticed from it. I was trying to shoot one guy down, and he was just like zipping away, and I was like, why?
Yeah.
That's about it.
I think another thing I like is the really there's a lot of detail in the game compared to the other modes. Like, it's not just very simple. Like, there's very minute details that really change the game. Like, the football, you're always seen. But if you throw away the football is still shown, so you can bait people. Or there's things like you can collect 9 clams, so you can stay, like, on the down low. And then once someone throws a clam to you, once you're ready to attack, then it doesn't matter anymore. Like, there's a bunch of strategies you can come up with. And I think throwing clams to teammates is super cool. Like, by the end of it, we were starting to form strategies. Like, I remember I played me, Blake, Jordan, and Yoko, and we were playing just against, like, we were doing PBs with a bunch of people. And we ended up finding strategies like, okay, one thing I'm going to point out, super underrated weapon that's going to be really good in Clam Blitz, L3. L3 is going to be so good in Clam Blitz. It paints well, it kills well, and the baller is disgusting in Clam Blitz as well, at least from what we've played. Is like, you can... This is the strategy we were doing. We were doing... I got fed 10 clams to get a football. I would charge up my special to get baller, and then I literally just run into the base with the football, pop my baller so no one could come near me, and someone would run up behind me, take the football, and just throw it in. We would almost guaranteed get points every single time.
Yeah, I agree. Like, what's it called? The L3 like gets baller pretty much like every 10 seconds, I think. So it's just so easy that you can just get a bunch of clams and just. All right, I got baller. Let's go. You know?
Yeah. Well, the one
best
thing
sound I've
though
ever
is
heard.
that you have to use the football, because if you pop baller with the clams, you lose all your clams.
Yeah.
So we learned that you had to use the football, or what you could do is pop the baller and then everyone throws clams to you right after. Yeah, we worked out some pretty detailed strats for at least like a very short amount of time. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I guess what I want to go into is, what do you guys think about the competitive viableness so far from playing it in a team aspect?
It's really good. Like, the thing that kind of that would make how do I explain, like, may raise an eye is like people were worried of, like, I guess the RNG of the clam placement, but from what I'm seeing is like the clams always respawn in the same place.
Yep.
Which is a really nice thing. If it was just a thing where it's like, okay, we're just gonna scatter clams all over the map, RNG for everyone, you know, it'll be like, maybe not. But it's a thing where it's like, you kind of know where they're gonna spawn, and you can actually see it on the map as well. So it's just like, I can kind of roll with that. I feel like it's still competitively viable just because of that. Because it's like, you have knowledge that you know where it's gonna be, you know. So
Yeah. How about you, Nine, as a commentator coming in?
Oh, you know I've been excited for Clam Blitz since it got announced. Like, I can't wait. People have made jokes about it being actual football and the Monday Night Football theme. We were talking earlier about the John Madden commentary that will inevitably come from this. But I think it is going to be fun. I think that spectator mode, whoever's running spectator mode on Clam Blitz is going to have to be on their A game all the time, because there's a lot of stuff that's going to be going on, and it's going to be up to the commentators to try to keep track of that as well. So I'm really excited for it. I hope that it gets picked up sooner rather than later. And hearing Dude, hearing Kendall, hearing you all talk about how you think it's pretty all right once other people are playing it makes me think this might actually happen. I'll get to commentate football in Splatoon, which is 2 of my dreams meshed into one beautiful Squiddy mess.
Yeah, actually, just to add on to what you were saying with the, well, you're coming at it from a commentator, but from a broadcasting perspective, what I think you might see in Clam Blitz is you're going to, well, at least what I think we're going to try to attempt to do is do a split screen of offense and defense, because it's so fast-paced. Like you just can't do it with one person. So we're hoping that what we could do is potentially have 2 spectators and have it at least split screen between each base at each point in time. So at least you kind of have an idea what's going on. Regularly it would be the full display, but then you could potentially do half screen, just so people have an idea, because like I feel like people would be really confused without it. But we'll see. We'll see how it works out. Kendall, what about you? How do you think it's going to be competitively?
We've already banned it from Long Island Splat, so there's that. No, I'm joking. We're just giving people.
You guys had a poll to have it in the grand finals. You can't trick
Did you read it? It said either yes or yes. I mean, yes or yeah. My fault. Yes or yeah. But personally, for me, I think it's going to be actually like really fun to watch. Like just watching, especially at a higher level, like seeing like all those like teams that are going to like practice and put in the time to like see how it can work. Like you can definitely see that like the devs looked at like how they can make sure that it's not like an onslaught of teams just throwing the football at each other's sides over and over and over again. So I mean, I think that we just need to give it time for right now. But I personally just seeing how it's working and seeing like the coordination that can come out of it, how you could possibly work with your team with like having a defensive player that stays back, or like kind of like your tank using like either like a Hydra or something like that, or even a Forge that has like bubbles. Or like having somebody that's like going around picking up, having one that's like going around slaying. So I think there's an opportunity for it. We just have to give it time.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I think Clam Blitz is going to be the most exciting mode in the future. I think it's really early right now to be like, oh, this is going to be the best. Right now, I think it's chaos. It's kind of like, especially at a high level, it's organized chaos. Like, people are kind of getting a feel for it. They're like, ooh, you could put clams onto teammates. And then people just kind of flail everywhere and have no idea what they're doing at that point. They're like, yeah, teamwork. We're in pairs. And, like, that's the extent of it. But I think in this mode, you're going to start seeing really where organized teams are doing really well, because you don't necessarily have to get kills. You just have to be effective at knowing where to move. There's a couple of things. Like you said, the placement of the clams are always in the same spot. I noticed it in all the maps too. They generate 4 clams in some sections, 2 in others, and they're always spawned on a regular basis. So people are going to figure out respawn timers, making sure your ink is covered so that when they appear on the minimap, you have them like marked, so you can go grab them when you have the net popped. There's just going to be a bunch of different strategies that people have available to become more organized, and people are going to start figuring out strategies like, okay, at this point we go to this section, and then we go here, and then we go to X place. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to become more of a unit, and you're going to visually see that broadcasting. Teams who are organized are going to look really fucking smooth, and teams that are unorganized are going to clearly be unorganized. Like, that is the mode where you will literally see team coordination objectively. Like, you just go to the top, you look at it, and you go, wow, that team is organized and they're moving together, and this team is clearly not doing anything, and they're just trying to hope for the best, you know? So I guess last thing I want to bring up regarding Clam Blitz, and then we'll go on to our hot topic of the day is when do you think tournaments should start implementing Clam Blitz? Since it's a new mode, there's a bunch of controversy on Twitter where people are like, you can't have it in tournaments right now. Oh my god, the world's gonna end if you put Clam Blitz in right now. The world's gonna fall apart. No one knows what they're doing, right? But I guess that's the argument, is should it be in like as of right now? Should people wait a week? Should people wait a month? What's the contingency of tournaments to allow it? So what's your thoughts, guys?
I'd say tournament should add it in like a 1 week. 1 week is enough. Like, I don't think we should wait for too long. I feel like 1 week is enough just to learn the game. Anyone who complains about like, oh, I didn't get enough time to learn the game. And well, the thing is that, like, top teams, we're scrimming this now. We're trying to learn the game type now. So, you know, it's not exactly like a tournament or the tournament's fault for adding it in for you not learning the game type in that week span, you know. So that's just my take on it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I don't see a whole lot of the period of should we or should we not add it. I think is meant to be a period where we determine if it is competitively viable, and which it sounds like a week with all these teams scrimming it will be enough. So I agree with Dude. I think a week will be enough to determine if it's a fit mode for competitive play. And then after that, I think any excuse falls on the teams. Like you said, it's did you practice enough, but it's not the tournament organizer's fault. And the sooner we get it into our tournaments, the sooner we will explore and adjust to it and teams can get better. So yeah, sooner's better, a week, figure it out, and then get right into it.
Kendall?
Oh, I've already said, yeah. I think it only needs a week, basically. As everybody else said, I think that like it's not at the fault of the tournament organizers. Obviously, it's a new mode. We just need to give it a chance. We need to see the next tournament, like actually use it, and then go from there at that point. So that's really it.
Okay. Controversial opinion. Put that shit in right now, man. Hold the tournament right now and have it all Clam Blitz. Dunks all fucking day, okay?
Well,
listen, there's a couple of reasons, okay?
That's all good.
Couple of reasons. One, most tournaments don't have prize pools, so you're only really playing to improve or for bragging rights, right? So why? Yeah. And a lot of the younger teams, like not like Team Olive or like I don't know, Neptune, Eclipse, they scrim all the time, right? Like you guys find scrims with teams that you know are good, but younger teams, they might not know where to go, so they play in tournaments to practice, right? So I feel like you're going to put younger teams at a disadvantage for not practicing a mode, and they'll never get that experience. So having them, I mean, it's just a week, but having it right away makes people excited to want to play in it, because they're like, oh, this is, I can enter a tournament with Clam Blitz. Like, it's appealing, it's new, it's fresh. And second thing, if you are hosting a stream, damn if the viewers don't want to see some fucking Clam Blitz at a high level. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be awesome. I just think overall the pros of having it right away outweigh the cons of it. Like, you could argue later that it's not competitive, but since it's a hot topic right now, I can bring people into the scene. Why not just be like, oh, look, Clam Blitz is out. I know you're excited to play. Why don't you go into this tournament and play it? Because we have it now, you know? Or why don't you come watch a stream with Clam Blitz, right? Like, I don't know. I think from a viewer perspective and a casual audience, it's way more appealing. And I think people can endure 7 days of not knowing what the fuck they're doing for that excitement, you know?
That's fair. That's fair.
So, yeah. I guess we're going to segue into content creation, since I brought up like broadcasting, viewers, that kind of stuff. I mean, we have Dude on here who arguably people think that he just became popular overnight. Like when Splatoon 2 released, he just became like some like universal popular streamer like out of nowhere, and he's like, oh yeah, I just became popular. Dude worked for it, man. Like, dude was around from the very beginning, grinding, making videos weekly, like constantly doing stuff. So it's a steady progress, and I think it's good and important to hear how Dude became Dude. You know what I mean? And what you think we should do for content creation. So I guess I'll summarize it as a question, since a bunch of people asked it, was what do you do to keep growing yourself as a personality? Like, what do you consistently keep doing, and what do you think brings your viewers into your stream?
Okay, so like, where did I start? With content creation, it's more of a thing where you want to get yourself on the map first. So usually the best thing is to talk about something controversial, of course, in terms of like, I guess, like some sort of debate, like something that people would talk about, you know. That's probably one of the best ways. But like, so
you're saying that we should fuel the field fires all the time?
In terms of the game, maybe, yeah. Because the thing is, like, stuff like that gets people talking. Stuff like that, like, you know, gets people to ask more questions, and like more debates start happening out of stuff like that. So I mean, also honest, and the thing is, it's like stuff like that's entertaining as well. So people like really like to watch or see that type of stuff. So like in terms of like remember like when Tri-Slusher was like the greatest weapon in the game, like straight up, like it was a debate. Like everyone needed to know that the Tri-Slusher was the greatest weapon to be ever put into the game at the time, you know. So I mean, people really like that type of stuff. But I guess like in terms of like how you maintain like a good, like I guess with content creation, how you maintain it is you gotta do it a lot. So you gotta like you don't have to do it like I guess every day, or I mean I get into some like systems where I'm making a video pretty much every single day. I mean, you can do that if you're crazy, but you know, it sometimes it's not manageable because sometimes you want to make quality content as well. But like, how do I explain more? Like, if you were to ask me more things, I can probably give you a better answer, I guess.
I guess is like what kind of retention, like what videos get you the most retention and what gives you the most positive reception from your fans, would you say?
It's usually topics, like anything to do, like a topic, like if you're getting your thoughts out there, you know, like if I was to like here, okay, let's say I had thoughts about X weapon, like I thought it was really good, or I thought it was really bad. I'll put it into a video. Now I've seen a lot of people do this. They do it on Twitter every single day. I'm just saying, like, if you can do that every single day and you put it into a video, you've got a YouTube channel going right there. A Splatoon YouTube channel, really good one, because at this point in time, not a lot of people do that. And that's another thing I really want to talk about YouTube, is that if no one's doing that specific thing, you're gonna get views on it, like no matter what. Of course, you gotta like look at like titles and stuff like that, tags and whatnot. You know, that's how you like. People have to search it first. Like people always search either through Google or YouTube. Like, so if you type in like, here's a good example, Hexen. He basically made this video on like his thoughts on one of the patches, but he named the title "My Thoughts on This." No one's gonna type "My Thoughts on version 1.4." If you put Splatoon 2, "My Thoughts on This," views. People are gonna watch that. People will follow on to that. You'll get yourself more on the map by doing stuff like that. Like if you're actively putting the titles, actively, you know, putting like something that's gonna like allow like a new person to actually search that up, you know.
Yeah. What do you think about clickbaiting your titles?
Well, in my opinion, it's not a bad thing. No. I mean, if it's a thing, if like I guess, how do I explain it? If it's a thing where you put like a clickbaity title, but the title is actually, well, the actual content is in the title, then it's completely fine. Like you can like spruce up your title however you want, as long as people click on it and it's a good video and it actually, like the title is related to the video. It's all good because there's no problem with that.
That's what I do on Reddit when we post articles. I just put maximum clickbait on it, and we get a lot more views. Like we look at the analytics a lot of the time, and
yeah.
Well, like for example, we did a splasher crash on Hydra, what's like a weapon analysis article, and we started with Hydra. Is it good or bad? And that was it. And like it got some views and people were like, this article sucks or whatever, you know? And then then instead I put, you won't believe what the Glugadoolies were, and it fucking went crazy. Like no one was negative about it, only upvotes. It was great, man.
Yeah, exactly. Like stuff, it's not a bad thing. Like I don't even know why. I mean, I guess other parts of the internet, I mean, see clickbait as, oh my god, that's so bad. Why does he want views? Like, of course, like any YouTuber wants views. Like that's stupid to say. I don't want people to view my content. Like, hello, like it's not a bad thing, you know. It's like you want people to view your stuff, of course. Like, don't be like so full of yourself about it, but you know, you want to attract people. Now, I've seen some things on Twitter that it was, I guess, about other YouTubers and stuff like that, that it's luck. It's not luck at all. Like, you can ask every single YouTuber, you'll probably get that 5 or 10% that they did get lucky. But it's a thing where you can't get lucky if you were the first person to put the work in. So, I mean, in my case, I was one of the first Splatoon people that put the work in to make analysis videos and stuff like that. I'm actually still the only person doing that. And you know, I've kept doing that because I'm literally the only person. I'm like the only source for that. I mean, of course, in terms of like YouTube and videos and stuff like that. I actually want to bring up another good example. It's because Sendel, he's actually starting to do stuff like that. And if you see like the viewership he's getting now compared to just his tournament videos, when he's actually talking about his thoughts, talking about certain weapons, talking about like analyzing types of things, it's like double that, you know?
Yeah. I guess since we're talking about players, this is for all of us, is what do you guys think is lacking in terms of, because I guess everyone's always talking about how we don't really have standout players. Like, we know all these players because we're within the scene and we're friends with everyone, right? But from someone outside looking in, like, unless they see Dude's content, they're not going to look at, like, Hexen and be like, oh, look at Hexen and look at what he says, right? Like, we know what kind of person Hexen is. We know what kind of person, I don't know, Kendall is. We know who Sammy is, you know what I mean? Like, all these people with, like, crazy stuff that they do. But it's not known outside. And I guess what I want to know is, like, how do you guys feel about branding on a personal level, not like a organization? Like, how do you guys feel about people branding themselves? What do you think needs to be done? And like, is this a problem? Like, do you think it's a problem? Do you think we need more things? Like, do you think we need more controversial players? As much as like people don't like the asshole, let's say, do you think we need one? You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's the best way to describe it. And I use that loosely because there are, I'll go into that a bit more after, but I just want to know your guys' thoughts about like your branding and your personality. I
mean, like, if I was to talk about like controversial players, like I feel like we already have all of them, but they just aren't making the content, honestly. In terms of like branding yourself, it's not that hard to brand yourself. Like, you make a logo, there you go, you got your brand right there. But like but it's like, in terms of that, like, it's just basically you. Like, how you brand yourself is, of course, talk, use your voice. Like, don't do subtitles and stuff like that, because people are gonna know you for that guy who, well, no one's gonna really know you for that guy who puts subtitles in the what's it called, video, because a lot of people do that. Yeah. But the thing is, that's different. The thing with being more personal is actually using your voice to speak over videos and stuff like that, because, you know, you're the only person with that voice, so that's gonna make you different right then and there. Now, if it's a thing, you just have to, now, after that, of course, once you found yourself, of course, but after that, it's just the fact of actually finding something that someone hasn't already done, or not a lot of people are already doing. And at this point in time, what not a lot of people are doing are actually getting their thoughts on video, you know? Yeah.
I guess I want to pass it off to Nine and Kendall, because I know Kendall does a morning stream every once in a while, and I know that you're active on Twitch as well, dude, but I want to pass it off to Kendall, who streams every morning. Like, what do you think people need to start doing a little bit more to get a little bit more popular? Because, like I said, I think it also affects tournaments. Like, having players and personalities in tournaments reflects tournament viewership as well. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when Dude enters an InkTV tournament and we promote all of Splatoon, we get more viewers. Like, straight up, we do, because he's a personality that's known, and people want to see him do well, and people want to see him get casted, and they want that storyline. They want Dude to win, you know. In the same way where I think there's not that attachment with other teams because they're just not known, right? So, Kendall, what's your thoughts on that, being an aspiring Twitch streamer?
Well, first you can crash your setup. You can throw your controller at your TV, and then no connection is also a good one. Those are like great ways to get known, and then possibly maybe like catching a video of you like ripping your monitor out and throwing it out the window also might help. But personally, no. I think it's also just like now, like just like starting off with like doing like smaller things, having a reason for doing what you're doing. For me, I try not to get as tilted as possibly I can in the morning, but like at this point now is like being relatively really small, and just starting off in like October. For me, it's been like the consistency about it and like finding an entrance point where I've realized it's like, all right, it's not saying that like don't stream at the same time as the other big streamers, but I was like, you know what? Let me try streaming in the morning where it's like I'll be able to reach people that are at a different time. Obviously, it's some people that just don't know how to go to sleep, like bread. But besides that, it's been like doing things that have been like able, like as I said, in the morning, waking up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and then being able to play, making the connections with like other smaller streamers, like hosting them, talking to them about like what they've done to like come up, talking to other bigger streamers also at the same point in time, and trying to like just build a smaller community. As I said, I'm relatively small, so like really small, but and also making a presence on Twitter. Like I would say that Twitter is like a really great way of like getting a lot of your stuff out there. So that's just my personal take.
And how about you, Nine? I know you're a commentator, but like, what do you think? Like, from a commentator's perspective, what do you think's lacking? Or what do you think can be done more? What do you think can be done on anyone's part, not just players, but like tournaments, anything, just to improve it? Like, yeah, just go ahead.
Well, I think there are so many stories in the Splatoon community that don't get told. And that's really kind of tragic. That's not me harping on anyone, because I think that my favorite videos when I was coming up and learning more about Smash Bros. Is to hear these stories about tournaments that happened or how certain teams were doing or certain players were doing. I guess there weren't teams back then, but players. And I had the fortune of being able to see all that in Smash boards because it was all written down. Squid boards and Smash boards too aren't really big anymore. But I think those stories still need to be told. So what I would love to see is just more teams creating YouTube channels and then getting together and talking about their thoughts of how a tournament went. Like Dude said, using their voice, using their personality, but just talking about the matches. Like I said, we're very fortunate that we can just go up and ask someone either in their Twitch or something like that, hey, how'd you feel about that tournament? Like, all right, you guys lost that game 5. We know that was hard, but just like, talk to me, man. What was it? And then someone says, wow, snipers on Moray or bullshit. And then, you go back and forth. But that's a story that doesn't get told to people who aren't already here. So when I'm talking to new people about Splatoon who want to get into Splatoon or who want to learn about the people in Splatoon, they're like, all right, what YouTube channel should I follow? I'm like, and I give them the same 3 names every time. I give them InkTV, I give them EGTV, and I give them Dude. Those are the 3 that I give without fail every single time, because I know that those are the 3 who will be consistently putting out content. Even if I wanted to say somebody else, I would have to put the disclaimer that also it might be 3 weeks before they make another video. You may enjoy the video, but it's going to be 3 weeks. So I have to give those 3 names, and I think that just more teams and more players putting it out more consistently. And Kendall hit on a great point, the consistency. He's building a community, and I know he says it's small, but it's also growing. I don't know if he said that enough. It is growing, and it has grown very quickly for just starting in October. And it's because of that consistency. People have a lot of entertainment options, Anywhere they go, they have a phone with them that can access everything. Well, most people do. You get what I'm trying to say. But if you are a consistent spot, a consistent time, or every Monday you release a video, everything like that, you become some sort of consistency that people can turn back to in all of this. It's kind of why I'm really happy that Ink Radio has kind of carved out a time slot for itself, Monday or Wednesday night, 8 Eastern, because people can come back here. They know they can build around that, because we're only getting busier. We're only getting more and more media. So to have something like that that people know they can turn back to is, I think, a really, really big instance. But more content. I don't know what content needs to be created because it hasn't been shown yet. I think that the best content is the hardest to predict. Dude, for you, my favorite of your videos, I love your tournament analysis vids. My favorites were your call-out videos. Your call-out videos and your tearing it up. Because that was when I felt that you could just not shut off, but where you could just have a stream of consciousness about a weapon as it was going on, as a map, or as a team strategy. And that's what I wanted. Like, I didn't know I wanted that until I watched it, and then I knew I wanted it. So I guess I can't really say what content needs to be made. More content just needs to be made. I
think, actually, I'm gonna tell you right now, Nine, I don't think all content needs to be made. I think good content needs to be made. I think there is a huge difference, because I think if you just put up content, you're like, here's my gameplay video, and I went into tournament, and I did this, and I did well, and you don't say anything, or you don't talk about anything, like Dude was referencing before, like, just don't make the video. Like, what do you even waste your time for? Like, you're adding nothing to it. Like, your gameplay has to be incredibly unique, or you have to be a fucking god. You have to be Thyrak, who literally doesn't miss ever, in order to get that level of viewership. You know what I mean? And even at that, Splatoon's a small game, so you need, like, a little bit of personality. I think what I want from people is, like, I want to see people making what they want to make, because it really personifies who they are as people, right? Like, Dude is a calm, he's a chill guy, he thinks about things, he's methodical, and it reflects on his videos, and you could tell that he's caring about his fans, right? And when you watch a Dude video, that's what you get. You see that he's talking to his fans personally, stuff like that, right? But you have other people in the community, I would even argue myself, who swears all the time. I was on a team where we literally taught someone what certain words meant. You know what I mean? Like,
I saw that video.
Like, like, that type of content is the stuff that relates to me, only because it's kind of who I am in a way, right? Like, I don't hide who I am on this stream. I don't hide who I am to anyone else either, right? And I think that's what people reflect to, is that kind of content, right? Like, Dude's just being himself, but he's being genuinely himself on stream, or he's being genuinely himself in videos, and that works because he's not afraid to kind of, like, laugh at himself, or even talk about other things, you know what I mean? In the same way, or if someone's like, oh, Spoon, you're a shithead, I'd be like, yeah, I am, you know, like, of course, like, and I think that's what brings people in. In the same way, like, Nine, when you're casting and you make, like, those little quirks about how you say things about like, about the match, right? Like, sometimes I even genuinely laugh at them, and I'm like, yeah, this is what makes Nine different from other casters, is because he has this quip that goes with it that works. In the same way, when I watch Kendall in the morning and I see that he's, like, raging at people, like, as much as I was like, yeah, it's not calm, like, I still liked it. It felt genuine. It didn't feel like you were trying to be rage-inducing for the sake of being rage-inducing. You were just being you. You were just being angry because you were fucking angry, right? Like, and I think that's kind of what you need, is I agree, you need the controversial videos, not controversial in the sense of, like, this guy's an idiot, but you need those, you need opinions like, I don't think this mode is competitive, and I'm going to tell you my opinion, and you're going to like it. That kind of thing. I think you need someone kind of like that, who just has opinions and he says them. Whether you think they're right or wrong, you're still gonna watch it because you're interested in it. I think another
new people.
Sorry,
I was gonna say, it gets new people just interested in it. Like, we have a community that says a lot of things, but it's like, you know, new people aren't going to come into the community if no one's saying anything, if they can't search for it as well. So,
yeah. And another thing I kind of want to bring up in regards to that was, I think, like, we focus on videos and stuff too, but I think we just need media that is concrete. Twitter is, like, day in, day out. Like, it's no one's gonna save a tweet for years, right? Unless you're Donald Trump and you want to like use it on blackmail for him or something, right? Like, you want to have something that's kind of immortalized so people can still go back to it and look at it, right? So like that's what we were trying to do with our website. No, I know I'm gonna plug the shit out of it, but yeah, go to InkTV.media. We do articles and stuff. We've just started, okay? But like that is the reason why we started it, was because we're like, there's all these topics, there's tournaments that run on a weekly basis, there's weapons that come out every fucking week, and no one has an article about whether it's good or bad. No one has a roundup of tournaments for the week to get teams known on a weekly basis who play in them. What the fuck are we doing? Like, that's the whole idea, right? It's like, you need something immortalized. So we figured, well, if we can't do videos because we don't have the gear or the equipment, let's write it. We can make a website, right? So I think that's the idea, and I think that's the push that people need to make, is they need to make, not only in video, they just need to make their thoughts more concrete and more permanent on a web space. So like, if you're going to have an article, post an article, maybe make your own site, or maybe find some way to make it so that people can access your content. Not just with video, could be streaming, could be, like you said, YouTube, could be a news article, just anything. Just post it on Twitter. Twitter's a great place to get ideas. Man, I get all my fucking topics from Twitter because all you guys talk about it all the time. You're giving me free stuff to talk about because none of you guys talk about it. Your loss, you know what I mean? So that's what it is. I think you need the emotional players. You need those emotional players. You need the people who fucking think they are the best and they hate everyone. You need those people. Like, you need those people making content, you know? You need someone who's like, sorry, dude, I'm going to shit on you for a second, but I don't mean it personally. You need someone who's like, dude fucking sucks, and I'm the best. And then he gets wrecked. You know what I mean? Like, you need that in a tournament. Like, that's awesome. You want someone to like stir up a little bit of the pot. Nothing too offensive. Like, you don't need to go into like racial slurs or anything here.
Yeah, of course.
But like just enough for like that little trash talk. You know what I mean? Like like, dude, your pro sucks. You know, I'm gonna come after you. You know, he's like, I'm feasting, and then he gets fucking wrecked. You know what I mean? Just gets absolutely destroyed. Like, that's what you need. That's what you need, man. It's a great personality.
That type of stuff is so sick too. Like, I mean, in this game, that would be sick. Like, in other games, that happens all the time. I'm just like, yo, man, this is why I watch competitive.
Yeah, man.
It's just like there's stories like that. It's just like, yeah, that's entertaining. Let's go. Yeah,
like I said, it doesn't need to be on the level of like you genuinely hate someone, but like if you need someone who's cocky enough to be like, I think I'm better than this team, and I want to vocalize that I'm better than this team, or I want to vocalize that I think I'm the best Brella player or something, right? And then you want to see him either actually do it or get wrecked. Like, it doesn't matter what the outcome is. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, storylines are good. And I think the Splatoon community does have the people to make these storylines. I hope that nobody tries to force it, though, because there's nothing worse than cringy trying to force stuff like that. Not accusing anyone in our community of doing it. I'm just saying that it sucks when it happens. It's like, let it happen. Beef will emerge in and of itself. People will say enough things, someone will lose, someone will get salty. It always does happen. The thing that you said that I thought was kind of interesting, Spoon, and that I wanted to, like, I guess ask you a little bit more about is talking about good content. What, like, I guess I'll rephrase the question that you asked me. What content do you want to see specifically, aside from, like, I don't know, the beef stuff that you were talking about earlier? Like, what video series would you love?
What I would personally watch is someone who just makes a video like shitting on something. Like, I would genuinely get joy out of that. Like, I want someone just to make a video who literally gives an analysis as if they're like a psychopath. Like, I want someone to make like a Clam Blitz video where they're like, yo, you fucking throw clams into a giant bucket and everyone fucking sucks. And then you just make a whole video about that for like 5 minutes. With swearing and everything, you know what I mean? Like, just someone letting it all go. It sounds like me, but I wouldn't do something like that, actually. I want to make a video like that. I do it live streaming or something. But I don't know. I like that kind of content. I want something that's funny, but kind of competitive at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, a pro player who is genuinely, like, makes light of himself in a way. But genuine about it. Like, you can't just like fabricate it, you know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
I want it to be funny, but cater to someone my age, because I'm like 27, dude. I'm not like 15. So the comedy that I enjoy is not the same comedy that someone else is going to enjoy, where they hear like, "Woo, I'm spinning around like a beacon. It's funny." Or like, you know, they say the word pussy and everyone's like, "Woo, shit, it's so funny." Like, that's not funny to me. I need something a bit deeper than that, you know? And I think, like, if you had a pro player, like, a good example is, has anyone seen Nothing from Counter-Strike?
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever seen his flashbang dance or whatever?
I have not. No.
Okay, it's the fucking dumbest thing in the world, okay? But, like, it's genuinely him, and he's just genuinely being himself and having a good time. You know what I mean? And I think you need people just like that who are engaged in what they want to do, and they want to make a video about something because they have a thought on their mind about it, and they just want to be completely straight up about it. Not like, you could be informative about it, but be yourself. Like, I feel like a lot of people, when they go on the camera, they're just like, and this is Clam Blitz, and you throw clams into the bucket, and this is what happens. And it's like just an informative video, and it's like, dude, I'll just go watch Nintendo's video for that. You know what I mean? I want to get your raw thoughts. I want to know that you think that all your teammates fucking suck, and that you're the only person who can carry those clams into that basket. I want to know your deep down thoughts about how you feel about things, you know? I think, and like you said, it involves the controversy. I'm not gonna lie, man. Like, I follow all that YouTube drama shit, dude. Like, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, I don't watch any of their videos, but I love watching them fail every time, man. Like, I love that shit. So that's what I'm trying to say. You need stuff like that, man. Like, I like the iDubbbz. I like the people who commentate on the drama of things. That's like my shit. So yeah.
One thing I think might help with that is, at least, Kendall and I talked about this after, I think it was the first Ink Radio. We talked for about 3 hours afterwards. Some of my favorite videos are stream highlight videos, which is where I watch Mango's a lot because I can't tune into his stream all the time. But what he has someone do for him, and I know this isn't realistic for everybody, is to just cut up highlights from the stream where he does say those things, where it's like a stream of thought or a really sick combo or something like that, or him talking about anime girls. The point is, if you're not able to watch his stream over the course of a week, you can at least go there and there's some form of reference, and it's bite-sized and it's easy, and they end up being pretty long compilations. But Mango also streams for like 6+ hours every day. But something like that, where you can get that stream of consciousness in a more, because I agree with you. I think that when people are not necessarily in front of a script is when they have their raw thoughts, and to maybe make those stream highlights and bring them out more and frame them as stream highlights in a recurring series might kind of get you the best of both worlds in that situation.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, honestly, for me, I want more analysis. Like, I want more, like, from different, like, views, honestly. Like, I think for me, honestly, like, even watching, I say probably even like Fuzzy stream, like when we're talking about clipping like out certain parts of it, where like watching somebody get so mad that to the point where they actually just start like informing people about how to play the game. And like, that's what it takes for somebody to actually say like, yo, this is what you need to do when like 2 or 3 are down, or like, this is what you need. This is what this weapon needs to go, where this weapon needs to go. This is why you run this. This is why you run that. I want more of that. I want like people to actually like explain why they think that like this weapon's better than this weapon, or like why your comp should never even see like what comps you should actually be running. Like, I wish that people would put more content out like that. How much you should be wearing for like Ink Saber sub or whatever. Like, I wish there was more like analysis, research, those type of actual like videos out there. That's the type of content I would love to see.
But I think you could do that even with your own personality too. Like, that's what I was trying to say, is a lot of people who do that are just going to be like, and you should always stack 3 main saver on your ink brush when you're moving to the objective.
I understand you want personality on it at the same time.
I want someone to be
I understand, but that's why I was saying with Fuzzy, like yelling and screaming at people because of the fact that they're messing up. Like, that's something like obviously that can be put into a clip on YouTube. So,
I want someone to have like a little quirk about it, you know, like you got better put 3 ink saver sub, or else you're gonna fucking feed when you play solo queue with me. Like, I want someone to be like, just genuinely like their general anger towards you. Like, Kendall, if you made a video, I'm sure you have something like that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna tell you right now, everybody's gonna hate me for half the stuff that I say.
That's like, the whole point. People are gonna watch you because they hate you, man. Like that's the whole thing. Like.
I gotta get better first. I gotta start like training.
Yo, make a vlog series of you on the come up, dude. Just put it to the same Rocky music every time, and then just put a bunch of your highlights. There you go. There it is. There
needs to be more highlights for that.
Let's start with the lowlights.
My first video I'm ever gonna publish is just gonna be clickbait. It's gonna be like, you can't believe what I said about @ThatSRB2DUDE, and then I'm gonna be like, he's a nice guy. He's really nice. And it's just gonna be 5 seconds, and then I'm gonna put black for the next 5 minutes, and that's gonna be my first video.
He's a really
He's so Canadian.
Oh no!
You just have like the thumbnail just of like thinking emoji. It's like
no. Even more clickbaity. You have me like with like the middle finger or something. Like, this is my thoughts on dude. It gets retweeted every. Oh my god! I can't believe this guy thought. And then it's just like, he's so nice, man. He's a nice guy. I don't know what's wrong with him.
Yeah.
Anyways, I guess one last thing I want to touch on this topic before we start going into some viewer questions. I kind of want to know, I feel like another thing that people lack is just general promotion of their content. In particular Reddit, but I'll come back to that at the end for you guys. But like, I want to know, is there something that you guys feel like's lacking within the competitive, not within Splatoon in general, just the competitive scene, in terms of promotion? Like, what do you think people aren't doing properly to get their content across?
Well, titles. I mean, well, it's hard to say because there's not a lot. Well, I'm gonna be honest, because there's not a lot. Like, if okay, hypothetically, if people did, it would be their titles, not because if somebody searches in YouTube for a specific thing, it's just not coming up because they didn't type Splatoon in the title, or they named it I am good at this game 27-7 or something like that. It's just like, you know, titles, like, it'll get promoted if you I'm messing up with words. So.
Well, actually, I do have a question for you, dude. Like, what do you normally use to promote your content just out of the title? Like, once you post a video to YouTube or you go on Twitch, is like Twitter your only source, or are you going elsewhere to promote your content? Because you're a little bit larger than all of us, I would say. So I wonder if you try to go the extra mile, or if you're just going on Twitter.
I use Discord as well. Like, I use Twitter, and then I have my own Discord server that has like 2,000 something people inside it, and I put my video in there. There's also I have the Olive server as well. I put my video in there as well. Apart from that, I don't really like spread it too far because I mean, I've kind of already made it at this point. So it's like, I guess Reddit would be another option because a lot of people do put their stuff on Reddit, but you know,
I'm gonna get into that in a second.
Yeah, like if you're gonna put it on Reddit, of course, like make sure that people will have reason to click on it. You know, if that makes any sense. Like,
yeah. How about you guys? What do you guys think?
Personally, for me, I think it's networking. It's probably overlooked, but like trying to reach out to people, also like getting your friends involved, possibly not in your videos, but actually like trying to get your friends to like promote your videos, people that are like on your like teams, like talking to them about it, like showing them it, making sure that you actually like, I guess want to say like more of like putting it out there, but putting out to there the people that will actually like watch it, promote you, show you to other people that will actually like get like others involved on top of that. So as I said, like even for like networking, it was like even for like Twitch, it's like going on to other people's channels and like talking to them, going to other people's videos, maybe asking people like what they think of your videos to get better at them, stuff like that, honestly.
9?
Kendall, you got there first this week, buddy. Network. talk to people, and you never know which person is going to be the one that gives you a breakthrough. And this may sound crazy, but tell your IRL friends too. Tell your IRL scene.
Well,
all of my friends here. Yeah, I know. Yeah, see, I am
started
shameless.
doing that.
All of my friends know. that on the weekends, while they're out having a good time, I am inside talking loudly over a Squid Game. I make that very clear, but because of that, I've gotten advice for what I've done, which of course is a great and valuable resource. It's been shared with friends of mine who showed it at a Smash Bros tournament. Because of that, I got to meet a few people in the ARMS scene, and now we're getting promoted in the ARMS scene. So you never know which person is going to be the one, and word of mouth is still very powerful, even in this day and age, even when it's a community like this, that's mostly based online. And while you're online, yeah, Twitter, just talk to people, make friends with people. They'll do a lot of promotion for you, but consistency, I think consistency is the best advertiser. I may not know. I don't have to go on Twitter to know that Kendall is streaming when I wake up at 5:30 in the morning, because he is so consistent that I can just turn on and know. I know that he'll be streaming. So consistency is a great advertiser there. And then, of course, Kendall, you do put tweets on. But even when I don't see your tweets, I know. So yeah. I'd say just the little details, the due diligence is what I think makes the difference there. Search engine optimization is a whole different topic.
Oh,
but
yeah.
That's a lot.
We're totally into that. It's interesting, to say the least. It's very boring, but it's kind of like a necessary evil, at least when you're trying to get to another level. But yeah, I agree. Networking's great. I mean, like InkTV, we've been pretty lucky. We managed to contact Nintendo. We've talked to PK Sparks. We met Failboat. I personally met him at a LAN the first time, and then I met him at Squidstorm. Like, we're meeting a bunch of people who, like, I don't want to sound like we're just doing it for, like, sub, but, like, with, like, a large sub count, large viewer base, large following who are willing to help us out and, like, come commentate or just generally enjoy Splatoon, you know what I mean? And who are just helping us out because we've created a relationship with each other. Like, I'm not trying to say like we're just using them. Of course not. Like, I met Failboat twice. I think he's a great guy, and now he's become one of our casters that we use a lot of the time. You know, like these things are networkings because we've genuinely become friends with them, and I think that's a huge part of it. Another thing that I want to work on is I know we all fucking hate Reddit because it's only for casual people and they downvote everything in competitive, but I promise you, post all your shit onto it. Just bombard it. It'll work. I swear to God. Okay, we did a little experiment because we never really had pure analytics before. But we've been posting like the clickbaity articles from our website of like more casual appealing content, like not the competitive stuff that we put. Like, we didn't put STDX article on there. We just put like, is this weapon viable in the meta? And like we put a clickbait article, and I'm telling you, it gets views. Like, our largest viewers are from our Splatoon whenever we post. Twitter does a huge amount, and if we get retweeted a lot, it does a lot. But I'm telling you, just one post on Reddit, even if it has like 3 people who upvote it, gets like 400 views. Like, it gets a lot of traffic, man, and you can't deny it. Whether it gets downvoted and people shit on it, like, it doesn't even matter. Just post it, let people downvote and call it shit, and then you still get views. Like, it really doesn't matter at this point. That's literally what I do. I just put my username, I accept all the downvotes, I put the article, and then I just never comment on it, and it gets views. Like, people need to start using our Splatoon as a way to promote it. They apparently don't want competitive, but I disagree. I don't think they don't want competitive. I think the vocal people don't want competitive because they don't want their little snowball of a place to be broken. And it's like, yo, listen, fuck off, okay? Even the lurkers want some competitive action here, so let us post our shit, okay? So that's what you do. Just brute force it. Everyone post your shit on it. Make content and post it on Reddit, so that way I'm not the only person here who looks like a fucking demon when I post things on it, okay?
We're coming after you, Reddit. About comments.
Let this be the day, December 13th, that the conquest over Reddit was started.
Well, no, I mean, like, to be honest, I actually go on the subreddit every day. Like, I'm one of the few people who actually browse it. I generally just read all the comments and go, oh, you're wrong. Well, you're wrong too. Oh, you're wrong as well, because like meta talks are hilarious on there. But like, it's still a good place, and it's a great place to have controversial opinions because people hate it when you bash their weapon on Reddit. It's great. So
it's amazing. It
fuels the fire, man. Like, on our comment when we had talked about the Hydra, so many people literally yelled at Walkie because he said that the Hydra was not viable in the current meta, okay? That was what the article was about. Not whether it's a fun weapon, not whether you personally like it. But man, people were so butthurt that we didn't like the Hydra in a meta level that they were like, yo, you're fucking wrong, man. That kit is the best. Auto bombs on a Hydra? Oh my god, that is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And we're just like really? Like, you can't look at this objectively and still like your weapon and realize that it's not the greatest thing ever created? Like, anyways, great stuff, man. Anyways, let's get into some viewer questions, guys. There's a really hot one again from Z-Stars. He keeps putting really good questions on. Thank you so much. I'll probably have to get you on the show at some point. He organizes the Gainesville lands in Florida, by the way. If you want to check out a local land, go check him out. He's a really cool guy, pretty cool friend. So go check him out. And his question is, with the addition of Clam Blitz, Splatoon 2 will immediately jump from 39 to 52 map mode combinations. Heading forward, teams will need to learn how to play 4 new matches for every map added. With the currently announced stages, e.g. Walleye, we will be up to 64 combinations. At what point do you think we will need to begin banning specific map mode combinations in competitive play, and how will this be decided?
Well, I think the second part of your question is a lot harder to answer than your first part. To answer your first part, I think as soon as we hit 64, or even now, I think these discussions need to be happening. There's no reason for everything to be on the table. There are plenty of maps and modes that the ones that we either don't think are great for competitive play for objective reasons, or the one that the community at large just doesn't like. I think we can start having those conversations about taking those out of rotations. I know we all joke about shadow banning Moray, but like, I mean, I feel like it's a discussion, maybe not all of Moray, maybe you could keep one mode on Moray, but I think that, yeah, I think that it's a legitimate conversation to have.
No, just ban it.
Just ban it already? Well, okay. You know, I'm trying to keep things somewhat neutral here. Yeah, just ban Moray. But yeah, no, I think that the conversations need to start happening now. I think that tournament organizers need to start talking to each other and getting those things. The more universal they are, the better. Of course, not everyone, maybe everyone won't have the same list, but yeah, I think there are certain maps and modes that we can just start taking out now, especially specific combinations that don't fit the direction that we're heading.
Yeah, like maps like Starfish Rainmaker, it's so dumb. Like when you push on the top left area and you just keep shooting Rainmaker, there's nothing the enemy team can do unless they have a Stingray. If they don't have a Stingray, they're screwed. And the thing is, if they mess up the Stingray, then that's another like 30 seconds they can't do anything. It's just like, I feel like conversations like this, they need to be, it needs to be now, because like, as we don't know how many more maps are going to be coming into this game. Like, it could be like every single map from Splatoon, and then they have other new maps coming in as well. So it's just like, how much do we really have to learn? It's like, we have to learn like 100 different map mode combinations. Like, it's just like, come on, dude.
What about you?
Honestly, personally, Mora just needs to be banned. It's a bad map. It doesn't make sense anymore. I don't know why we're playing it. Like, just stop the lies like you guys like it. But just being serious, I think that like maybe it will come a time that we need to start talking now. Whoever you want it to be, like if you want your like TOs or like the people that you think of, like I don't know how you're gonna come up with that together, but it's a conversation that needs to be had. That like, yo, not every map and mode needs to be used. It's not saying that like, yo, you just get rid of the map completely, but maybe it's like, yo, like maybe Rainmaker Black Belly doesn't need to be a thing. And as Dude was saying, maybe Starfish like main stage Rainmaker doesn't need to be a thing. But like, why doesn't it need to be a thing? Here's the reasons listed out, and this is why we think that it's not a valuable mode for like our competitive mindset that we have right now. And maybe if Nintendo makes those changes later on, then reevaluating it and looking at it. I'm obviously just joking about the Pomore thing, but
are you though?
No, I'm not.
So,
yeah.
I semi-agree and I semi-disagree. I'm kind of in a middle place. I'm always in conflict about this, okay? Because I actually have to deal with this kind of stuff. It's hard. That's the best way to describe it. We do a lot of shit, And banning maps is like the hardest thing I have to think about, so I just keep pushing it aside, okay? There's a couple of factors that I want to go into. The first is that a lot of people don't actually prepare for matchups. There's very few teams that do. So most people who go into a tournament are like, I'll just play whatever map and mode because it's always who's the better team. It's like, but we're going to have to start to get to a point where teams are actually organized and thinking of strategies per map mode. And I think now we've kind of dug ourselves into a pit where instead of having a selection of maps that people are actively preparing for, people just feel like there's so many. So there's no point in preparing for a specific map mode matchup because you have 1 in 64 chance of getting it. What the fuck is the point? You're better off just overall trying to improve as a team instead of trying to work on a specific map, right? Like, we don't have a specialist. We don't have a team that's like a god on like Rainmaker Blackbelly, right? Like, we just have teams that are good and teams who are not as good. And I think that's what has to be changed. I think that spices up the scene. I think it adds more to commentating. I think it adds more to just like the general personality. Like, why is this team so good on tower control humpback? I don't know, but I'd like to find out. I'd like to know that that's a thing in the future, that this team loves this map and they're going to always win. Their win rate's like 97% because they fucking love it, you know? That doesn't exist right now in Splatoon. I feel like everyone just has maps they kind of dislike and kind of like, and it never goes anywhere because no one ever wants to prepare for it. So I think that's a big issue. And then us as TOs or people who are organizing it look at it and go like, well, we can't ban all these maps because everyone's going to hate what we're doing, right? Like, we're stuck in a position where people are going to tell us we fucking suck. And it's like, we don't want that. Like, we're just trying to help you guys out, you know? Second thing is how do I try to best explain it? I think that there's a middle ground, because if you're in Japan, right, like we can't dictate what the Japanese community is going to do or what EU is going to do. We can only really dictate what we have control over, which is our own tournaments, right? So you have to look at it as like, if we start banning modes universally, we're going to be even more behind if, let's say, I don't know, Japan starts playing like Rainmaker More and we ban it. Like, what happens if someone enters a tournament? Like, you're going to be fucked in that tournament because you clearly don't play it, right? You're not going to practice it because there's nothing on the line for you to practice playing that map anymore. So I think either teams have to be really conscientious that if you're going to play in Japan, you have to play all maps, or that you just won't, which sucks because it segregates us even more, which is not what we kind of want, you know? I think there's a balance between all of them. I think you could make a rotation, as in like we pick 8 maps or 7 maps or like a best of 9, let's say, and you play those maps with each mode every month, and then monthly that changes. And so every month you have a way to prepare for a matchup, and then we can slowly evaluate, like, because then people have time to play them. People have time to cultivate the mode. Then we can genuinely decide, is this mode broken? Is this mode boring? I think there's 2 aspects to it. There's not just the is this viable competitively? Is this fucking fun to watch? Because if you're watching people who just sit in the middle and just shoot guns all day and don't touch objective because you can't move the objective, that's boring too, right? Like, you want some back and forward. So like what you said with Starfish, right? Like, you can constantly sit on the left side and shoot a Rainmaker, never move up, and you just kind of sit there forever. It's like, that's boring. Like, that's not interesting to watch either. So like I said, it's a mix of both. You don't want to detract from a scene of Japan, but you don't want to as well limit people actually being creative with map modes, and I think that's the issue.
I think your idea of the best of 9, are you talking about doing that for like an analytics side of it, to just see what's good and then collect data on that? Or are you talking about doing that for a series of like actual major tournaments? It's
both. So it would be like, you have, let's say, I don't know, in maps, you pick like 16 maps, okay, like tower control, splat zones, Rainmaker, and you put, let's say, like, you will only be playing Rainmaker Mako Mart for this month. That'll be the only map mode combination that'll work. So you can put all the maps in rotation, but set a single mode to it every month. And then from there, people will start cultivating strategies, and they're being forced to play only those types of maps for that period of time. So it forces them to learn strategies as opposed to just kind of doing whatever they want. They can actually focus on like, what's a strategy that we think we can win? Because I feel like a lot of the things is like, there are teams who are just genuinely better and genuinely skilled. Like a team Olive is always really strong. STDX is always really strong. They're good players, right? But I feel like there are people who are smart, like really smart people too, who may not be the best. But if you have good teamwork and you have a really good strategy, sometimes that can trump even just pure skill a lot of the time. And I feel like we never have that chance with Splatoon 2 just because of how many maps there are.
I guess then the question becomes, what are the tournaments, what are the big tournaments that this all is done in preparation for? That's a big, because I say that because I feel like, speaking from an InkTV side, we host a lot of majors, we host a lot of big tournaments. If we dedicate some of that time to doing these type of analytical tournaments, or tournaments that are basically testing things out more or less, I'm just wondering what, I mean, is it Japanese tournaments specifically? Is it the LANs? Is it Ink Storms and the other like big stuff? What are the big tournaments that we're prepping for in these scenarios? And that's almost a rhetorical question,
Well,
because that's something that we always have to keep in mind, is like what the bigger ones that we're getting these ready for are.
well, I think that's the thing. I think this will be dictated by the big tournaments and the LAN events. I think really. And I think smaller tournaments will get on board once they realize that they kind of don't have a choice. I think that'll be the dictating factor. If a big tournament or a big organization steps in and is like, yo, we have like fucking 15 grand that we're going to have as a prize pool. Not saying it's going to happen. I'm speaking literally out of my ass here. But like, let's say there's someone who's like 15 grand tournament. We're going to have 15 maps with these modes and you're going to learn them. You bet your ass every single high-level team is only going to be playing those maps for like the next 6 months, right? Because that's what really matters. And there's going to be strategy. I really think that kind of stuff comes in once there's an actual money and prize pool and stuff like that. But I think there's a way that we can try and edge it out and kind of come to an advantage where we become a little bit more mature in our scene by trying to not ban maps, but at least start the process of engaging in strategy. Because I think that's a big thing that we're missing right now is like, if you ask any top team, like I'll even ask you right now, dude, like you're on Olive, you might be the exception, but how often do you guys genuinely talk about a game plan in the game?
I mean, we talk about it a lot, but like, considering there's like so many maps, like it's hard to like, I guess, have one for every single map in the game. Like, we have loads in game plans, don't get me wrong, but like, it's more of a thing that we make a game plan for just the map itself, and then we try to like mesh it to all the game types in the same times, because there's something like, it's kind of similar in a way, but not completely. But it's super hard, dude.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to say is that you have to create general strategies. Because there's just too many map modes, right? So, like, let's say if we limited it down to, like, 8 modes, where, let's say on Sturgeon, you're only playing Rainmaker. You don't have to worry about TC or zones for a month or 2 months, right? And you start scrimming it. Would you say that you're more likely to actively think about how you're playing Rainmaker on that map way more than you would just generally talking about Sturgeon?
Yeah, like, definitely, because then that way you can actually learn the ins and outs of pretty much everything. Like, it's so much easier to learn. You just have to learn the entire thing. Like, so basically how you can set up, because this is something that not a lot of people like talk about, is like having some sort of setup. Once we've wiped the entire team, we need one person here, one person here, one person here, one person here. That's something that doesn't happen in Splatoon competitive. It doesn't happen because it's not possible. Like, we can't think of absolutely everything in absolutely every single situation. So it's like, it's so much easier to learn. It's like everyone has a better understanding because there isn't that much to learn, or it's more manageable, I guess.
Yeah.
So stuff like that it's good. I follow this. It's more competitive in that way.
Yeah, and in my eyes, it's like I said, we're catering just to raw skill at this moment. We're not catering to thought like actual in-depth gameplay analysis thought. Like we always talk about it, like this team clearly thought it out, right? Because we hype up the matches. But when we're actually looking at it, like I'm looking at this going, they have no fucking idea what their game plan is. They're just good at following people and good at understanding. They have a good game sense, you know what I mean? But they don't actually have the strategy behind it. Like you can see it with a lot of teams where that doesn't happen. And you can see the teams that are actively trying but just can't, because like you just can't learn every single map mode. And I think with this, like if you do it on a monthly basis, right, you change up the mode, you still will memorize the strats you had from the first month. So it'll come over to your next gameplay, but at least it focuses it so you have that chance to learn that map mode. And then, like I said, when it finally comes around where we learn all the modes, then we have all the players and all the tournament organizers who can actively come together and be like, yo, we've played all these modes. We finally made a game plan for them. What really fucking sucks? And what can we drop from here? Or do we keep all of them, right? Like if we think they're all really good at the end, like why not, right? But I think that's a discussion, and I think that's a process that we kind of need to start having.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Yeah, specific tournaments, specific modes, specific maps, feedback forms afterwards. Find out what people liked, what they didn't. Really, kind of double down on some of these.
Yeah. How about you, Kendall?
Wouldn't that equal more tournaments?
Sorry?
Wouldn't that equal needing more tournaments? And I mean, meaning a more like unified front, getting people to also go along with that.
Well, I think it'll come down to what people think is more important in tournaments. You know what I mean? I think if someone starts doing it and they have a prize pool to it, like I'm not trying to like put on our cloud or something like InkTV, you know? But it's like I feel like we do have this. We have a stream. We do get viewers. You know what I mean? People are actively wanting to show off more in our tournaments than, let's say, something that doesn't even have a stream. I mean, that's just objectively what it is, right? Like you want to be shown. You want to be shown off. You want to be shown you're the best team. So I think if there's a prize pool or if there's something to gain from it, people will actively invest in those things as opposed to just kind of like working on the smaller tournaments, right? So if we or EGTV holding a LAN started doing these type of things, I think you'll slowly start seeing smaller tournaments. Not necessarily, they're not going to be like, oh, we have to change because EGTV told us, but they'll just change because they realize that a lot of people are doing it and it's the trend. And I think that's how that will go.
Well, that's what I was saying before with starting a standard, or like people coming together and talking and starting a standard, so that you'll have something to actually look at. So,
yeah.
All
right. Well, I think that was a good question. Thank you, Z-Stars. You always give us really good questions to talk about. I love you, man. Let's get into the next one. So, I mean, this is a really basic question. We're all probably going to say yes to it, but I'll ask it anyways, and I just want your take on it more, because I want to add an addendum to it. Is should there be more tournaments only for new and smaller teams like Young Inc? So we host a tournament where we have specifically for young teams. Dude is not allowed entering this tournament. We kick him out if he joins. He doesn't join because he already knows what's up, you know. But if he did, we let you know, man. But yeah, so we we have it for young teams, people who are new or people who always get eliminated in the first round of tournaments, just to kind of like have a way to have a shot in the limelight and understand what it is to be a competitive player, and just to generally play more matches, because if you get eliminated in the first round, you're out, right? So it's just kind of a way to cultivate a little bit more of that community and get people to feel like they can do better. So I guess my question is should we have them? And then the second thing to that is how do you feel about younger teams entering tournaments where they are going to get eliminated in the first round? Do you think they should do it? Like, what kind of attitude should you have? Or what do you say to teams who are discouraged after that?
I mean, stuff like Young Inks is really good. Like, it gives people, like, you know, a taste of how a competitive tournament is. If a younger team was to like join in like big major, I mean, honestly, then go for it, like, because you never know, like, you may still reek it really far with the strats that or underdeveloped strats that you already have, like, and if it's a thing where like you're playing your first game but you're still like going toe to toe with them, then you know, and I guess in that case you still lose, you know, there's something you can still learn from that, you know. Like, you're not gonna get better if you don't learn. So like, if you have to lose to learn as well. So from stuff like that, it's like, just give it a try. Just honestly, like, yeah, sure. You may not be going to like top 8 like other teams that have been like playing this game for like years now, but you know, learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
How about you, 9?
All right, I'm gonna keep it short for my boy Kendall here. 1. Enter everything you can. Learn, learn, learn. You may get your butt kicked, but you're a little bit better, and you learn from that. And if there's no entry fee for joining, why not? Enter it, even if it's with a great team. And 2, yes, more Young Ink-esque tournaments, because there is no substitution. You cannot substitute being in a Game 7 situation unless you are in a Game 7 situation. It doesn't matter how good or how experienced or inexperienced, we'll use those terms, you are in the game. You have to be in those situations in order to experience what that feels like and learn how to execute in that situation. That only happens if you're close to skill with someone else. That only happens if there's more Young Ink tournaments. Boom. Done.
Me personally, I think, yes, we do need Young Ink. We need more of it. Gives more people exposure. Also shows off like players that may not have a chance to like get the exposure they need in bigger tournaments. But also at the same time, I think you do still need to join in majors. Why? Because you need to feel what it actually feels like to get like stomped out by Dude, stomped out by like a lot of other teams. To realize, honestly, for yourself, like, no, seriously. I mean, like, we've all been there. Like, I mean, I've been there. Nine's been there. You've been there. Like, it's just something that like needs to happen. It's like playing basketball against like your older brother and realizing that like you can't beat him unless you get better. And how do you get better? It actually allows you have to actually put yourself in the situation and realize, yo, this is how good they are, and this is what I need to get to. So it sets a standard of like what you need to do and what you need to do to get better at to be Dude, basically, or to like be like Olive, be like STD and all those other teams. So I think it's a good thing, but at the same time you need to like know you need to get slapped every once in a while.
So I'm gonna add a couple of things here. We stream Young Ink. That's like Bob and them who run it, okay? 9, I know you're waiting for it, okay?
Well, no, we're probably not laughing at the same thing here, but go on.
Okay, good, because okay, I'm just gonna say it, okay? Young Ink's a great tournament. I mean, we advertise it, we stream it. That's why we stream it. We think younger teams should enter and it should have access. I think it's great for casual viewer base. But we'll get into this on the next podcast where we talk about mentality a little bit. But I think that if you get so discouraged after getting your ass beat by a top team in a new tournament you're entering that it's making you want to quit, competitive might not be the best option for you. Just because you have to understand who you are as a player. I'm not trying to discourage anyone. I'm saying, like, if you want to try it, man, fucking go for it, man. Like, you're never going to know if you like something until you try it, you know? But I think if your mentality is like, I'm going to get beat every tournament I enter, so I'm not going to play in tournaments, you shouldn't enter tournaments, because clearly you don't have a competitive mindset to want to get better. You just want to win because you want to win. You don't want to win because you feel like you've earned it, right? When I started playing, I started on CQC, and we like finished like top 64 in Booyah Bottle on like the first tournament, right? Like we did so bad, and then all of a sudden we started making new teams and we started getting better. And then I remember when we beat Chimera for the first time in a Rainmaker tournament, and it was like the greatest feeling in the world because we worked for it, man. Like we fucking worked for it, you know? It was the one time we practiced every day. We practiced tons as a team, scrim after scrim after scrim, and it finally paid off, right? It's like, that's the feeling you want. You don't want to just get first and be like, we got first because no one showed up who was good. It's like, you want to get first because you fucking earned that first place. And I think that if your mentality is you just want to win because you want to win, it's not always the best. So think about that before you enter. tournaments. I mean, if you want to like wean yourself into it, like if you know you're that type of player but you still have a competitive mindset, Young Ink is the place for you, because you can play tough matches against your skill level and move up a little bit, and then decide if you want to go into the tournaments and get your ass whooped potentially, or maybe you're got really good because of Young Ink. I mean, good examples, SKR. They started out like no one really knew who they were, and then all of a sudden, after a couple of breakout tournaments near the end of Splatoon 1, it's like, whoa, these guys are pretty good, and they're starting to place well. And then, you know what I mean? Now they're like a team that we can talk about on a level where it's like, hey, they're pretty good. They got some good players. Like, where'd they come from, you know? It's like because they worked together, and they actively tried to get better, and they didn't let their losses just, like, completely roll over them. But like I said, that's a huge mentality thing. Like, you have to really have a good mindset for that stuff. But that'll be a whole other topic. That's a whole other discussion. But just giving my thoughts that, like, you need to have a good mindset going into it. So, yep.
All right. Spoon, have you checked Discord chat?
No, why? What's up?
Kendall has a Ludi match right now.
Oh, okay. I guess
that's why I was laughing, because you kept putting things up, and Kendall kept staring at Claire.
All right, I guess we'll end that right now. We'll plug all our shit really quickly. Actually, that was the end of the question, so we're good to go. So thank you, Nine. Thank you, Kendall, for being on the show again, as usual, our regular guest. Dude, you want to plug your stuff? Go ahead and plug it.
ThatSRB2DUDE at Twitch, YouTube,
Twitter.
Yeah, and yeah, that's all good. I'm all good.
All right, man. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you next time. I'm just gonna play our intro, outro again. See you guys later.
Can you tell me where the hope has gone?